addressing the three aspects of immigration, you have to get to that point. So we are looking with interest to see what the Senate is doing with that. We're interested in what House members who are negotiating in a bipartisan fashion do with that. We have some of our own ideas about that as well, but we are in no way able to tell you how that will unfold at this point. Sir.
I think you said that no decisions were made on timing for markups. Is there an expectation that you will mark up and produce a bill or several bills this year?
Well, it's our hope that we will be able to accomplish that. At this point in time, because we're taking a step-by-step approach, because we're spending a lot of time holding hearings, listening to members, making sure that we hold hearings on specific legislative language and ideas, and because we are waiting to see what the House Gang of Eight produces, it's not possible to, at this point, give you a legislative markup schedule. But we are very, very intent upon getting ourselves to the point where we can do that.
On that point of timing, a member of your committee who's in the House group, Raul Labrador, has said that if it doesn't get done this year, it's not going to happen. You know, you're emphasizing the need to sort of go slow and do it right rather than do it fast. But do you agree with that assessment? I mean, is it this year or not at all?
Well, let me just say that election years are more difficult than non-election years, but I'll also say that it is far more important that we get this right this time. The American people expect the Congress to get it right, than that we live by any particular timetable. So I'm going to be very cautious about setting any kind of arbitrary limits on when this has to get done.
Mr. Chairman.
If the group of eight comes up with legislation, the understanding is that they're actually working on legislation, is your committee committed to marking up that legislation?
We have been speaking with members of the Gang of Eight for quite some time now, and I have in every instance encouraged them with their work. What they can agree upon in a bipartisan fashion will be very helpful and very informative. But again, no decision has been made regarding how we would proceed with that legislation or with the individual pieces of legislation which members of the committee will be introducing over the next few weeks. Yes, sir.
How many pieces of legislation do you expect? Can you give us a number?
There'll be several, but we
10,
don't.
15?
We don't know yet, but several.
You mentioned inclusion of ag guest worker program. Senator Grassley this week brought up the point that 10 years after the '86 law, only a small percentage of those coming into the country legally under the ag worker program stayed in agriculture. Many of them went to other more lucrative jobs. Do you expect to offer any specific controls to limit that problem? And also, separately, the U.S. territories, there are ideas to cover them in the Senate, particularly the Northern Marianas. Do you see inclusion of a more permanent status for long-term guest work?
Well, first let me say that the legislation we're introducing is for the purpose of getting input, getting ideas, getting responses to it. We do not view anything that we're introducing as a final product. It is a work in progress, and each one of these will be considered and viewed that way. We'll be informed, for example, by what the bipartisan negotiators do in the House. We will be looking with interest to see what is done in the Senate. But I will also say that the agricultural worker program that followed the 1986 Act did not work. And so our first goal is to make sure that we have a worker program that works for agriculture, because if we are to address all aspects of immigration reform, the issue of people staying in agriculture will be an important one. And I would expect that if we had a legalization program, and this is just speculation, but if we had one, that it's not going to restrict people to where they work. If